Welcome back to SwitchCorner. My name is Alex and today we're taking a look at Button City on the Nintendo Switch. A new adventure set around animals and their local arcade, but is this one worth a look? Or is it more kind of like, style over substance? Well, hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and let's get started. So story, and you'll be taking on the role of Fennel, a young, shy fox who just moved to town with his mother. Mostly locked up in your room, you've struggled to make friends and a connection with those around you. That is, at least until you discover the local arcade. Before you know it, you are now part of a gaming team of 4, and this forms your friendship group. But this adventure, it also quickly picks up because not only are you, trying to win a tournament together, but the arcade itself, Button City, it is at risk of being shut down by a fat cat known as Peppermint Pepperbottom. Now basically go save the day and save the arcade. I actually really enjoyed the story. I didn't go in expecting a huge amount, but its narrative touched on some surprisingly deep topics: friendship, family dynamic, challenges with those around you, loss, and even at one point dementia. It may look cutesy, but it's not afraid of presenting a realistic reflection of life. Around this then, there's a decently sized cast of locals to understand as you kind of dive into this community. But yeah, good stuff and an absolute surprise. So gameplay, it's a narrative adventure set around exploration with the occasional minigame thrown in as well. The core concept though really is main quests and side quests, which are optional. There's no leveling up or any sort of reward as such though for these additional missions, rather you just kind of get to understand this world that little bit more. The most unusual design element in the game though, it's the world layout itself. Rather than this large open world, you get dioramas of key locations that you can actually instantly teleport between, like the arcade, home, friends' houses, the park, and downtown. I really like this because there's a whole lot of fetch quests in here, so it cuts down a lot of that travel time, especially when you factor in the relatively slow movement speed. You can also then rotate the diorama if you want to teleport to a very specific point. Controls then a simple: move with the left stick, rotate the camera with the right, interact with a tap of the A button, and then as long as you are not indoors, you can teleport to another location with the B button. That will instantly pull up a stacked up breakdown of locations. From the pause menu then you can expect to find your backpack with a breakdown of items you've got on you, and also a breakdown of quests giving you an idea of what the main storyline is, and then where those optional ones are as well. It's never a challenging game, this one. It's relying on its characters to carry the weight of it, and for the most part it absolutely works. I wish I had an option to move just a bit faster, and I think they do overdo it on the fetch quest front, but the game then backs it all up with some decent little mini games. At the arcade, a couple of examples: you can play what is essentially a robot based battle game where you need to go and collect fruit from these trees. You'll be dumping it all in a blender in the center of the map. This is the tournament game you are facing off against. And then also there's a drift racer as well. Not deep experiences, but kind of simple arcade distractions just to break up the gameplay. Minigames then do kind of seep into the world itself as well, from exploring a local factory to making up some drinks. These are more kind of almost puzzle focused though. Simple but effective enough distractions. That's really all there is to it. A cute little ride that has a little depth to and presents some scenarios that no doubt we can all relate to. The only issues I really did notice outside of quest variety and that movement speed then was when large groups gathered together, it could be a little awkward to focus on the person you wanted to interact with, and I also had a couple of moments where I got the camera stuck. Otherwise though, this is a good one to just kind of chill to if anything, and replayability wise, the story, I'm gonna say it's over in around maybe 5 to 6 hours, but you can absolutely come back for the optional quests. You can of course then try out those mini games again if you want to. There's a collectathon in here that's surprisingly addictive, just basically 50 pieces of rubbish around the town you need to find, and then there's even some cosmetics and decoration potential, but I will say that's not at the level of say something like Animal Crossing. Visually then, the game opens with almost a music video intro. It establishes two things: a low poly art style and then retina burning colours. Everything in this world is vivid, and I loved that element of it playing into the kind of wholesome vibe it was going for. While occasionally I did notice some glitching and characters clipping over one another, I thought the variety in here was good. Everything felt kind of in keeping of a town that would, belong together, but there was always then that sense of variety that I was looking forward to, seeing where I was basically heading next. No real complaints visually, honestly. It won't be for everyone, but it absolutely delivered on really what they intended. So audio finally, and I loved it even though there's not a whole lot to it. There's minimal sound effects, so think a sound for dialogue, maybe some world sounds, some sound effects in the mini games. The highlight though, it has to be the music. It goes for that whimsical sound that really works here in a classic kind of poppy synthwave way. Occasionally though, it's going to catch you off guard with, let's say, a dash of metal, which I did not expect, but that was also a highlight of the game for me. I did notice the occasional cut in audio where it would just go almost completely silent, but those moments, they were few and far between. So overall, Button City is a narrative adventure with mini games to kind of mix things up. It's absolutely got an audience in mind with its kind of vivid colours and low poly art style, and the game just leans into that completely. It's not deep in its gameplay is what I'm trying to say, but you're coming here for the story, that of friendship and almost overcoming personal challenges. The characters, they start off, I would say, a little bit dry, but by the 30-minute mark, I found them likeable and I actually wanted to understand their personal kind of story arcs. While the minigames then are simplistic, they do a good job of creating that bond, so you do want to win for them and with them, and occasionally you even want to beat them on the leaderboards. Does it have issues? Oh, absolutely. The movement's a little slow, the quests are in design somewhat repetitive, it could be a little tough to focus on what you wanted to interact with, and then those minor visual and audio issues, but these areas, not enough to hold me back, and I think this is a good one for any age, though it will maybe lead to younger ones asking the odd question about maybe a challenging situation. You know, these young characters are facing it in their lives, but I think that is absolutely a positive. A good 7 out of 10 from me, and you already know if this one is for you, but it's good to see something a little bit different with a bit more to its storytelling. Will you be adding this one to the library though, or are you holding onto that cash? A shout out then to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.